right. Well, welcome back for another episode of our weekly podcast, Our Last 30. I'm getting over a little bit of a little something that I had over the weekend, but feeling better already. Eager to get back in on this conversation. Today we have a special guest, friend of mine, a colleague, and fellow veteran, Dustin Pearson. And again, Dustin, thanks for being here. Thanks for making time to speak with Caesar and I. And if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you, and what are you about, man?
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. Like you, I am suffering from allergies, so bear with me. I mean, out to the point where I didn't taste food this weekend. But yeah, Dustin Pearson, working here at my alma mater, A&M-Commerce. I've been here a little over 10 years now. Wow, it's been that long. So my job is I am the veterans resource guy. I'm the veterans certifying official. But my title is director.
Yeah.
Um, so, yeah, veterans come in, family members come in, spouses come in. What we're trying to do is we take the complexity out of the VA, where I can simplify it to make sure our veterans, spouses, and family members, are not, deterred by coming to school here.
Of course.
And so right now our population, we're running about for the fall. Military and veteran affiliated students probably around 850.
Wow.
So pretty big number. And this semester is unique because veterans graduate at such a high rate
Yeah.
that this semester coming up is a lot of new students.
Mhm.
So getting to meet some really good guys, good women.
And that's unique because two things that stand out for me when you said that you're trying to take the complexity out. Um, the VA system and everything post serving is very complicated. In fact, it's why, I talk to a lot of my veteran friends and like, hey, have you been certified yet for your disability? I'm like, no, I haven't, man. Why not? It's not an easy process.
Right.
It's a headache. It's lengthy and it's discouraging at times. And so I know a lot of individuals who feel like early on when you leave the military, there's a pride point that keeps you from seeking services, right? So there's that, and then once you get to a point where maybe you'd benefit from those services, uh, you realize how complex it is. So thank you for doing that, for inviting our veterans, for taking care of them. And in many ways, Dustin is a one person lead team, and there's transitions and, you get different kind of help, but for the last 10 years, you've largely done this alone, and you're talking about 850 family members and veterans. Think of any caseload or workload that is taking care of that many individuals, man. I don't know how you do it.
I know
I
it's,
don't know.
sometimes I'm at 7 o'clock texting or sending emails through my phone. I got a passion about it though. I really love it. I love what I do. Yeah, I wish I had more help, and hopefully in the near future we do have more help. But I'm going to do the best I can. But I'm going to move fast, accurate, and like I said, I'm going to go in and test all the VA systems myself as
Yeah,
if I was a student still
right.
to see how it works. That way, when it comes to it, I don't want my veterans clicking more than 3 times.
Yeah,
We want them in here. We want to, and then you get those success stories. You get the ones off the bat that say, "You've made this so easy compared to my other school," and I said, "That's what we're
yeah,
about." Now we have it where anywhere in the world you can request your benefits just
yeah.
by filling out simple forms. So yeah, we're trying to advance more and more every day.
And I'll tell you this, man. I wish there were more individuals like you working for veterans, because I've been at different places and different scenarios, and lots of friends that go to college and universities in other states and other locations. And I'm telling you, they don't have the same level of service, the same commitment. Either it's individuals who don't understand, or sometimes people are just maybe burned out, or don't feel like they're supported, and that's not the case with you. So thank you for that, man, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a blessing every day that just to have this job, and it's kind of what I studied, with my undergrad and graduate degree, social work with the emphasis. All my research was done on veteran population because I
Yeah,
wanted to make it easier. I didn't know if I was going to work for the VA or whatever side it was, but I was somehow going to be helping veterans.
yeah.
That's awesome. So you think that what you studied was what led you to working at a university?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I was thought about clinical private practice or something of that nature,
Mm.
but I just kind of fell into this, and you know, on a national scale, Washington D.C., the Student Veterans of America, they said, "What's the biggest deterrent for student veterans entering institution of higher learning?" And almost the highest percentage, most people think mental illness, but the highest percentage was navigating their benefits because if they don't know if they can afford school, you lose them off the bat.
Yeah.
They don't know how to get their benefits, you lose them off the bat. So then you can't even address your mental illnesses, your
Correct.
disability claims, your medical, uh, which I will. I'm going on and on, but I was on Capitol Hill not too long ago with Texas Veterans Commission, and if y'all run into anybody that needs help with disability claims, they got a solid team up there that'll help them navigate through it.
Well, I'm writing that down because I do need, and I'm not alone, man. There's tens of thousands of men and women who have served and do not know how to start the process, or in my case, started it 10 years ago or something, and then
Yeah,
just never finished, man. And there's all kinds of reasons and excuses, but the truth
absolutely.
is, it's not an easy process.
Yeah, because I put mine in when I got out in '08, and it was a terrible system then. So you were just sitting there waiting. And then recently I went up to like a national level to get everything reevaluated and
Yeah.
finally got where we're supposed to be.
And you said earlier, you said that, when people ask about what do you think are the big barriers for veterans, the first thing most individuals, and I probably would have said the same, is mental health, right? You think about how mental health is and how it affects this population uniquely. And in fact, it's navigating the system outpaces mental health. And we know, and that's not to take away from how mental health is negatively affecting veterans, but it's to say that in fact there's another barrier to military veteran success, and that's accessing these resources and programs.
Absolutely.
Man,
And you know it doesn't fail every semester. I have 4 or 5 veterans that come in. They're emotional. Things are not going right in their life. It's hard for them to reach out for help. I know I'm not currently practicing in that area, but you can always be a brother to them, and when they come in, you can make them feel better. And you don't always have to say, "Hey, you need to go to the VA." You don't always have to say, "Call the crisis line." There's people out there that are different resources that
sure.
work specifically for veterans. Myself, I can self admit that I I went to Dr. Ruth Whiteley's office in Greenville. Uh, they had a veteran representative, Steve, there. That's free of charge. So another great resource. Sorry, I'm blabbing, but
No, man, that's exactly what we want to
uh,
hear.
Wounded Warrior Project. Okay, guys, Wounded Warrior Project will help you get mental health uh, services. The thing is, you don't have to be wounded. You just need to be. They serve mostly post 9/11 veterans and forth, and then some that were before then. So it's a great resource. Just because it says Wounded Warrior doesn't mean you have to be wounded.
Correct. No, thank
Some
you for that. Thank you for this. If you're listening in and you're a veteran or you have a family member that's a veteran, seek out local resources in your community on a national level, on a national route. You can talk to a wounded warrior or your state agency that could help, and hopefully you have representatives that can assist. And if they don't, talk to other veterans, man. It's like any community. We know who the individuals are that are going to help us, and we know the individuals who aren't. It's true
Yeah.
about every industry.
Yeah,
every community, right? You're like, hey, avoid this person, man. They're no good for us. Or you definitely want to go that route. Now, if you're going to go that second route, know that they're probably overwhelmed, right? Someone like Dustin serving 850 students, um, show some patience, right? Show some
Yeah.
professionalism in waiting. They can't get to you right away because they're helping so many others in a similar situation. So please be patient with those professionals.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're coming here, or even if you're not, you need more resources. Just I'm usually gonna reply to you in 24 to 48 hours, if not within 30 minutes. To be honest with you, just
Yeah.
because I know that we still have that checklist mentality, and they feel like they're delayed if they get stuck on one area. But stick with it. I'm here for you. I'll guide you. I promise you, what I tell you is accurate 100%. I consider myself humbly an expert in this field. Uh, like I said, just reach out, guys. We got you.
Yeah. Appreciate that, man. And again, if you're listening in and you need those resources, feel free to contact any one of us. I'm going to lead you up to Dustin, and Dustin's going to take care of you. But it does take some time, but well worth it. If you want to go the education route, you want to take advantage of those resources that you earned while serving in the military. Um, there are lots of options for you. Dustin's one of them at our university. And I would say he's one of the best, and recognized within the field as one of the best. So again, man, take advantage of that. And if you have any questions, just general questions, you can email me for sure. But I would direct you to Dustin and individuals in his capacity.
Yeah, and even at whatever institution you're at, don't be afraid to ask what kind of veteran affairs, what kind of veteran help they have at the different positions, different institutions that I've been at. They have somebody. It might not be super frontal office kind of thing, but they always have somebody that's willing to help and that knows how to manage that process for you.
Yeah, and I think that's where we're lucky in North Texas and in Texas specifically. And that might not be true for other places, but there is a tremendous respect for people who have served, people who are active duty, people who serve as, firefighters, as police, as teachers, government service. And so that's kind of one of the things it really stands out for me about being a Texan, a fellow Texan, and living in Texas is that when you serve in that capacity, it's respected, man. And we hope that you are in a community where those services are respected. But we're
Yeah,
lucky. We're Texans.
yeah, it's for sure. We're absolutely the best state. And let me relay some more information out there to anybody watching. If you're a veteran, sign up for the VA medical. You may never use it, but let's just say you get in a car accident. That ambulance ride is probably going to be $10,000. Well, the VA will take care of that. I had pancreatitis not too long ago, and instead of using private insurance, the VA took care of every drop of it for me, and hospital stay and everything. So, I mean, you can sign up online. You don't even have to visit the facility if you don't want to, but it's
Man,
still
Dustin, I
there.
had pancreatitis. That is no joke.
I thought somebody beat me up.
Caesar, if you listen to me. If anyone's listening and they've had this before, they know what I'm about to tell you. I'm a grown man. Well, I mean, I'm half grown. Let's just say size wise, I'm half grown. But my mind, I'm full grown. And let me tell you something. Nothing brought me to tears. Physical. I've been beat. Man, I've been hit by a vehicle. Man, I've been hurt. That pancreatitis brought tears to my. I was
Oh yeah.
crying, man. I didn't know what was going on in my body, but that level of pain, brother. Ooh,
Oh yes. Oh yeah. It's terrible. That's one of those
one time.
you can't work through.
Now you can't work. You can't do anything.
You can't tough it up.
One time, I foolishly, I was talking to someone. I said, you know what? I compare it to, and again, I'm telling you, I'm a fool. So I said it. I said I would compare it to what I would imagine childbirth feels like. Man, if they didn't almost, well, my light went out. But anyways, yeah, that's the crazy thing uh, uh, about that disease in particular. But anyways, man, enough about that old man diseases, man. Let's get on with it. Hey, Dustin, can you talk a little bit about your military service? Like, where did you MEPS and where did you serve, and what was that like, man? For those who
Yeah,
don't know.
absolutely. I talk about it every once in a while when I chop it up with some of the veterans that come in here, and man, it's been a while. But I uh, I joined went to MEPS in Dallas in 2002. Didn't really have a lot going for me. My mom was a teacher, but I just kind of got tired of academics. And then I trickled around at some junior colleges here and there. But I was like, well, 9/11 hit. This is something that, you'd be proud of, fight for this country. Well, when you sign up for 11 Bravo, when you sign up for the infantry, and there's a major war going on, you just punched your ticket. So so Fort Benning, of course, that's where all infantry goes to train. We call it the beginning. After that, you're in your advanced individual training AIT. You're standing there, you're calling out your duty stations, and I swear I'm the only one they say Korea. I was like, what is Korea about? So when you're there, it's a mandatory 1 year
Right.
and so there I was at Camp Casey. Camp Casey was pretty cushy.
If
Now
you
the
have a
beach,
family, you can't take them with you to Korea.
you have to be a high ranking officer or something to
Yeah.
get a family down there, which I didn't see anything. So of course we were 2-9 Manchu land, where there's pretty much zero women around, all infantry units, Cav Scouts. So did my mandatory year there, and then as many people know, there's this thing called the Army Wish List, where you can get to sign up for 3 duty stations that you prefer. Well, I signed up for the 82nd, the 101st, and the 173rd. All of them were airborne or air assault. It isn't like the wish list was saying, since you picked this, you're going to get it. It was like, no, that's a deployable area or deployable unit. That's where you're going. You went. So
Well,
as you can see,
most people are asking for San Antonio, Hawaii. Nice stuff. You said give it all to me. You were gonna get something on that list, man.
the thing is, when you go infantry, you better have some wings on your chest.
Yeah.
You better go in there and get your EIB. That just shows respect. Uh, so first went to Fort Campbell, Kentucky. I'm a platoon sergeant there. We had a couple of other new guys coming in. We didn't even really go to the platoon at first. He said you start air assault school in about 3 days. So 13 days of hell. It didn't matter what your rank is in there. Once you walk in there, it's pretty much like you're in boot camp. So, finished that out, got my wings. Then everybody else, gets to punch those wings on your chest with the tag side in. So, shortly after, '04, we went to Iraq, Bob McHenry and Awecha. If you're ever interested, look at it. Look at Bob McHenry, 2014, 2015, and tell me, is the real deal. It was things go. I never thought things could go boom so much. Mortars, IEDs, to the point where it's crazy. It was shell shock at first,
Yeah.
but you man up and you do it. You don't have a choice. Man up and you do it. Then, unfortunately, about a year later, December 3rd, 2005, I got wounded, and to the point where I was almost done. I had a mortar that landed, about 20 feet from me and went through my diaphragm, my liver, and my lung. So, from there, I got a needle decompression while we waited for the Blackhawks to come in. From there, it was Blod Hospital in there. And pretty much the last thing I remember was morphine going into me while I'm sitting there, because I couldn't breathe. My lungs were collapsing. And so from there, I woke up probably, I don't know, about 6 days later in a place called Walter Reed's. Didn't know what it was at first. Had no clue. I didn't even know that I was in Germany for a while. Okay. So they actually called my mom, and because and told her like, well, we're going to fly 2 to 3 family members to Germany. That was pretty much to say goodbye. But they got me stable enough, and then I woke up in Walter Reed's, didn't know where it was at. I had no clue where it was at. So Walter Reed sat there about half a year rehabbing, breathing treatments, movement treatments. I got pictures where I was like 105 pounds at the time. Talking about chest tubes and throat tubes and all the fun stuff. But hey, I'm here though. And then in my office, I have my Purple Heart hung up, where it's pretty much a reminder that it's not that bad of a day. It could be a lot worse. So it's not really to brag or anything. It's a reminder. It's things getting tough. Look up. So yeah, that's pretty much the short story. After that, I was pretty much done with the military. I had to get pretty much med boarded me out, so I was out then.
It's humbling though, right? When you say like the story you just shared and how it affects so many veterans, and you're right. It's that reminder that no matter what that day looks like, some people, you included, have had some very difficult days,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a humble reminder, man. That's a humbling story as well. You just
Yeah,
shared with us.
and it was the 101st. I mean, they're squared away. Fast acting, squared away dudes. You can see kind of here in my background. I got my 101st flag right there.
Yeah.
Always representing that. But yeah, it was a nope. When you go into before you go into combat, you're filling out all your paperwork, who your pallbearers are, where you want your funeral, and all this. Us, we're just taking it lightly and joking. But I mean, you never know where you're at. But like I said, look up Bob McHenry in the 2004 2005 era. It's going to show there's a lot of people a lot of good men were lost.
Yeah, maybe we can even provide that link in the comment section, so others who want to follow that along, follow that story and that history, um, can read up on that. And I'd say be humbled, man. Be humbled uh, by that. That's why people ask all the time, and I tell them, I said, listen, I'm a pretty easygoing, flexible, open-minded veteran, if you will. If you want to burn a flag in front of me, I'm going to battle with that internally. You won't see an outward response from me. Okay? I'm not going to go up to you. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to be disappointed and ashamed. I hope I don't know you, but that's your right. 100%. I believe it is your right. However, I can't stop my brothers over here, my brothers and sisters, from whooping your ass. And I won't. So if
Absolutely.
you choose to do that, just like everything in
Mm-hmm.
life, and I mean it, man, there are consequences for our actions. If you want to
Absolutely.
burn an American flag and a bunch of in front of a bunch of veterans, you might you talk about trigger, you might trigger some feelings from individuals. And the reason why, it's not that we love an artifact, a device, or cloth or colors more than anything else. It is what that individual item represents, the time that we served, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
no different than any flag for that matter. I wouldn't disrespect somebody's flag, even if it wasn't a
No,
national flag. Let's say it was part of a small community or organization. Wow, what would I mean? That's silly for me to go disrespect it. And I would imagine if I grabbed somebody's flag, um, that there would be consequences to that, right? Well, imagine the same when you're doing that in front of veterans, or any group for that matter. And it just stands out because when you say like the level of pride you have, having served in the 101st, like anyone who was or served in those units or knows about service in those units, they get it, man. They are squared away. That's an understatement.
absolutely.
100%. So I get that.
Yeah, it's definitely a blessing. Like I said, if you're good, I mean, I never get the burning the flag thing. If you want to protest, do it respectfully. I
Yeah.
mean, It doesn't make sense. It's just outlandish. I mean,
Yeah.
it's over the top.
Yeah. And, again, just because no one responds doesn't mean people agree or disagree. Sometimes it's just like, that's weird. Like, why would you do that? But every once in a while, someone's going to be in the crowd and they're going to want you to know that they also have an outward expression
Oh
of
yeah, absolutely.
disapproval. It ain't gonna be us, though. That's not my style.
Right,
Dustin, that's
right.
not his style either.
No, I'm too
No.
old now. I mean,
Nah, we too old for that. Somebody's gonna get in there.
about 10 years ago, I'd have be throwing fisticuffs on somebody.
Yeah, yeah. And save that for the young bucks.
I
Let the
know,
young bucks
right?
handle that one. But anyways, man, those are. I think those are, if you will, public service messages from veterans and anyone. Caesar and I, we talk all the time about being members of a minority community, right, or however you want to self it. There's a level of pride and there's a level of even service in that capacity. And so if someone were to just insult us, I support your right. If you want to say choice names to me or about me or others, like, I'm not offended by words, but I can't guarantee that someone in the group will not be offended and will
Right.
not want to put their hands on you. But that's not my style. You could literally call me everything. The only things that will trigger me is like if you get too close to my kids and disrespect my kids, then I do believe that there are no I mean, whatever. It's just whatever it is, right? And we all have our limits.
Right.
And that's true. And maturity is a big part of that as well. Dustin, you said that now as you're older, you're not going to get into all that, but later on, earlier in life, you would.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You get a little bit more calm when you get older.
Yeah.
So
You got to think, is it worth it, man?
yeah, I got a wife now. I gotta act right.
They do make us act right. That's the
Yeah.
truth.
She's wonderful. She'll straight call me out too.
Yeah, man.
I'm acting a fool. She'll call me out.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing to have your spouse, people you care about, people you love say, nah, man, it's not right. For sure. So let me ask you this. So what was life like the first year or so after the military? Yours was unique because, you got out, you were injured, you had just been
Yeah.
honored and recognized with a Purple Heart. And while the public might celebrate that, I would imagine that most veterans,
No,
they have difficulty with that.
I never really said anything about it. People, close to me knew what happened and everything. Your support group, but it's not something I would blatantly go out there and talk about. It's not. It was just kind of. I guess you could say I was two ways when I got out. I was sometimes manic, acting out a little bit, and then sometimes depressed, where I would just want to be left alone by everybody. So I was up and down all the place. I couldn't go in large crowds. I just couldn't stand it because people were just in there griping about little stuff, and you're over here, looking for the team. It was tough for me to transition at first. Yeah, I had to seek help, medication, things of that nature, but also. I'm not saying medication's a thing. I'm just saying you need to do your homework on it.
Yeah,
Okay?
for sure.
Because the VA, I will say the VA was giving me stuff at that time that was not necessary.
Yeah.
We're at the point where I had no motivation. But going through the social work program, you learn a little bit about medication too.
Yeah.
It kind of made me a little bit more aware of what I'm taking, cut down almost half of it. That way I got that energy, that drive still. Didn't find a job when I got out.
And that's a great point, Dustin, that many individuals who seek help, medication can be very helpful for a lot of people. And sometimes, in some cases, people can be over medicated, quote unquote, over medicated.
Yeah.
You can feel like you lose the desire, you lose the motivation. And that could be equally dangerous for a lot of people. And if you don't have individuals around you to help keep you in check, man, you could get lost in that little system.
Yeah.
It's important to stay, it is your body, your mind, your health. So get the help, but also, as Dustin said, stay educated on the process. And that's true about any kind of engagement.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, uh, even when I got out, I tried. It was a tough time to get work. I mean, I was pretty practically begging people for work. I just literally got out of the military with, some, and had to work at Walmart. I had to make ends meet, so that's just the way it was. To the point where I was just like, man, I got this GI Bill thing. Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so I went back to school, and just at first was like, "Oh, I'm just going to take some regular classes." And then I ended up knowing one of the professors in the social work department, and one of my counselors actually at the VA. I go, well, "What do you do? Like, what is? How do you get to where you want to be?" And she told me exactly the steps to do it. And so, I was in there with about 3 or 4 other veterans too, so about my age, so a nice little cohort. So just had to learn how to learn again,
Yeah.
So I kind of got addicted to like writing papers about veteran resources. I like to throw the stats out there too, just to make people aware. I even did one intern at a military-driven juvenile boot camp. It's pretty cool. And those guys were like they're pretty much under drill sergeants and barracks, so I fit right in. Where I wasn't the tough guy then. I was the one they came to when they had, they want to talk to me about, their next step when they get out. So it was pretty interesting.
I love that. I love that. Also, the duality, right? It's like in some places, maybe you are the tough guy. In other places, right?
Yeah.
In my case, maybe with my dog or my kiddos, they're like, no, my dad's a softie, or maybe they think I'm a little on the tough side. But we have our dual roles, that we have to. Like it's no different than someone who's a CEO or president of an organization. They go home, they gotta wash dishes or cut the yard or whatever situation is, whatever makes you happy. But it is I think it's a beautiful reflection, man. But
Right. Yeah.
I think we got a good idea of your life early on, and how that has helped influence your educational goals, professional goals. The military is always a great motivating component
Mhm.
for individuals to you make the point about veterans graduate at a higher rate. I know that to be true. If you've worked with veterans, you know that there's a different level of motivation. It's kind of why when I first met Caesar and he was an incoming student, I saw those same attributes. I saw those same characteristics of someone who is just going to work and learn and listen and achieve. Um, and if you're interested in those level of staff members and professionals, hopefully your business has that resource to work with veterans. I think we're a great group. We represent every gender, ethnicity, every religious and non-religious. We are literally, I would argue, the most diverse group on a college campus or in the United States for that matter, because we represent everyone, every language, every possible group that you have. Veterans are represented, and those groups are represented in veterans group. So the fact that we're graduating at a higher rate, not at all surprised. If you're listening in, you're not surprised either, because
Yeah.
we have that level of motivation.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. I mean, if we get them in here for usually 2 semesters, they're here to finish it.
Absolutely.
Sometimes life happens. They have to take a semester off or something, but they're usually back to finish their goal they started.
Hopefully, if you're listening in, you use this as your motivation. Like, you know what? I'm going to get my brother or sister who's a veteran to connect to this podcast, or I'm going to myself as a veteran go after those dreams. And you really, as they say often, you're never too old or too young for that matter to go after those educational dreams to make a change. For the sake of our little resource here, our podcast, Dustin, Caesar and I both experienced the loss of a parent a couple of years back around the same time, and we used each other as a resource to get through that, much as veterans do, um, and other members of diverse communities. And so we came up with the concept of hosting this podcast, and so in the last 25 minutes or so, we wanted to propose to you, if it were your last 30 days of life, if you were given that scenario, what would that look like for you, man? Who would you contact first, and what are those early conversations look?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, my wife, I'd make sure she's taken care of. Um, I'm one of her biggest supporters. So very proud of her. She's got about 8 months left. She's going to be Dr. Pearson.
What?
Wow.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Look at that. That's
she's
my first heart, man. I gotta give love to
Yeah,
that.
she's killing
Dr.
it.
Pearson,
She
already.
kept. I read some of her textbooks sometimes. I'm like, I don't even know what this means. But she's a I always told myself, you got to marry somebody as smart as you or smarter than you, because you want that challenge every day, and she does. Of course, my mom. I want her to be around. A nice family dinner. With some nice barbecue, some ribs, brisket. Maybe some from Ernie's. The good stuff.
Listen, if you don't know about Ernie in Greenville, Texas, man, hit him up.
Oh yes,
You will not be disappointed.
best
I'm
barbecue
telling you.
sandwich.
And Caesar, you don't know this about me, but every time I have a meeting or something at the main campus and I drive back, I can go a shorter route. I add about 15, 20 minutes to my commute just so I could go off the highway, get my order, take it home. Everyone's happy. Dad comes through, and listen, it's just excellent food.
Yeah,
Excellent, great
it's been there
service.
since I was a kid. Yeah, a nice barbecue dinner, maybe some definitely a round of golf with my brother. Love him.
Yeah.
It's what we spend the most of our weekends doing. If it's nice outside, I love golf. I mean, just being out there. It's kind of like just being one. Or out there in nature. Just whacking the little ball, trying to get in a hole. What I like about it is it's nobody can ever master golf. Nobody can ever play perfect. So it's a game that you got to keep chasing. Even if you're by yourself, you're just playing the course. But yeah, my brother's a huge supporter. Anytime I can spend with him and his fiance, they're soon to be married. And they've become real good friends to my wife. Definitely going to have my mother there. My mother is the one that raised me. She's single mom growing up. So every football, basketball, baseball game, she didn't care. She did not miss one.
Beautiful.
At that time, she, a lady with a college degree at a big school like Texarkana was only making $20,000 a year, and she actually, when she came to, she worked mostly in cattle mills after that many years, and she's retired now. Well, the pay wasn't good enough, so to pay for like our sports and our activities, she would give out samples at Walmart. She would work at Rubbermaid overnight. You're talking about a lady with a college degree.
Come on,
And
man.
to that, she pushed me where it's you don't say you can't, you do.
And that's the thing. Much love and respect to your mom, Dustin, and that's why you didn't accidentally marry a woman at that level as your wife.
Right.
I know your wife;
Yeah.
she's a phenomenal individual, but it's not accidental that you married someone who is going to support you in your endeavors and also achieve that highest level of education. It was modeled by your mom, brother.
Right, absolutely. She was the one, that was stood by my side the whole time, even if I was in trouble, or even during college, she was there to press me forward. So she just kept pushing me, and even my wife, I actually only went halfway through my master's at first, and she's like, "Let's go do it. Let's go finish it." And at that time, I was working a full-time job here. I had to drive all the way to Mesquite to take a night class.
That's right.
Drive all the way.
The irony. I did the same thing.
And I was having to take classes here on campus, but I'd have to charge vacation time to go to that class and then come back. But I have nothing but respect for the social work department. I mean, I think they're absolutely fantastic. Dr. Openshaw is one of the greatest mentors I've ever had.
Yeah.
So kind, sweet, but yes, she's still tough. But yeah, and also, speaking of food, got to have the fish fry one day too, with all the fixings.
Now, for sure.
I'm a foodie. My wife
But
is
Dustin
too.
cooks it up himself, Caesar.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. We always got kids at the pool. I'm lucky to have one of the only pools, I guess, in Commerce. My wife wanted it, so there we go. She told me, she said, I said, before we went looking for houses, I said, the one thing I do not want is a pool. She said, oh, I'll take care of it. I'm the pool boy. I'm the pool boy. Never ending job. It's like mowing the grass. It's always got something to do. Yeah, I mean, last 30 days, I'd like to keep it nice and calm, hang out with friends, colleagues, chat it up with everybody, just to enjoy the day. Like I said, some activities. Love to go fishing with my brother, maybe hit a small trip up, My wife is also a traveler, so it's like every 4 months we're traveling somewhere.
Yeah.
Next up's Costa Rica.
Is that right?
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Good
So
for you.
that's what she planned. So let's go.
That's awesome. One of the other questions that we like to ask is, are there any regrets in your past or anything that you would change in your life looking back at it?
Yeah, there is. There's a time where I was a little bit in trouble with the law because of my aggressive behavior, but it was provoked. I was very easily provoked by this. And still today, I'm a redhead. I still got a little temper. So, I mean, but this time you use your voice more than getting out there and throwing hands and everything. Yeah, it was an embarrassing time of my life, but it happened, and I mean, I'm stronger because of it. But yeah, it was just basically, it was a financial burden, with the way it is. But I could have got myself in some really big trouble where I would have been locked up. I'm not lying when I say that. I was cruising down that road. I was using alcohol excessively. And I've been in a path where I've dabbled with some drugs here and there, that were things that, I would be dead by now. I was at that time when I got out of the military, I wanted anything I could to put me in a state of not thinking about combat, not thinking about, and, I still have the intrusive dreams, here and there, but, you gotta deal with them in a positive manner, So that's why I like to hang around with my good friends and my wife, which sucks because she's not here this week. She's in Kentucky learning on my old stomping ground. But yeah, I mean,
that goes back, Dustin. You're talking about the importance of your community, man. Of surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals that care about you enough to be like, not a good idea,
right?
Or ease up or whatever. Like, I just think it's a beautiful thing, and I also acknowledge that we're all privileged to be in those positions, right? Where you have a wonderful spouse. I'm lucky, man. I have a great wife, and we're going on 30 years of marriage, and also has been able to someone who's to motivate me and put me in a position like, nah, probably not a good idea to do that, homeboy.
Right.
And kids and all these other beautiful things and individuals in my life. And I say they were privileged because it's not true for everyone. So if you're listening in and maybe you don't think you have those resources, do you have any advice for someone in that situation?
Yeah, I'd see what I did. I got rid of everybody that was toxic in my life. So my friends right now at my age are my true ride or die friends. I call them right now. They're going to be here. They're the best people. It's to the point where we say I love you at friends, male friends, everything. I love you, bro. Love you. It's
awesome.
Other friends back in the day, they're just more. When I meet toxic people, they were takers. I'm not a taker. My mom grew up, and I'm a giver. Okay, so if I have to, one of my buddies is in the hole $1,000 or something. He has some kind of emergency come up. I'm going to go find that $1,000 and get him. I'm going to get his help. So yeah, that's my biggest advice is remove yourself from toxic people, remove yourself uh, from negative thinking. You know, and it comes and
Mhm.
goes, but when you're around those type of people, you start thinking
For sure.
differently and not yourself.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true, man. Well, let me ask you this, man. You talked about your meals and who you contact. Is there any song that stands out that you'd like played at your funeral or your services? Any song to hit home for you, man?
Yeah, I got the. It's Jamie Johnson. It's a funeral song by Jamie Johnson. Same one that was played at my. I think it's called Black and White by Jamie Johnson. So he's an old country singer and he used to be an old country songwriter for George Strait.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but I mean it's pretty nice song and it gets you a little bit emotional, but it also makes you proud.
Mhm.
Or we could rock "Proud to Be an American." Let's do that. Yeah, I'm an entrepreneur with all music. I like all kinds of music. I mean, I really like some jazzy. Big fan of Gary Clark Jr. guitarist. I'm a big guitarist guy. It
Big
has to
time,
be
man.
Jamie Johnson.
Well, I got to ask, do you happen to know Jelly Roll and how we can interview him? I've been trying to get a hold of him, man.
Ah,
And
Where
who
was
would
it
ask
at?
that? I've been to his concert.
did you? He was
Yeah,
just here. He was just in
it's
town.
killer. He killed it in Dallas. I mean, it was just he killed it.
Nice.
Yeah,
Man, I,
we want to go back.
I like I say it. I like his music. I really do. But I love him as a human being.
Oh
I,
yeah,
I love
absolutely.
I love what he's saying.
He's intelligent. Have you seen him on Capitol Hill? I mean, he's just,
Mhm.
listen to his speeches there. He's a really smart guy, and
And you know what?
he came
In
from the
any
bottom.
other, you're right, man. In any other situation, he'd be ignored. He'd be dismissed. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're a felon, or you've done drugs, or you whatever the situation is. And that's who we need to be listening to, man. You got to listen to everybody.
Oh yeah,
Can't
Mhm.
dismiss someone because of the past.
his songs mean so much too. I mean, it's really about
Yeah.
it's reaching out to touch other people in those situations. You mean you can hear it. Yeah. So me and my wife we jam that a lot.
Yeah. I mean, you talked a little bit about it earlier. Um, whenever you guys do your army paperwork and all that good stuff, uh, on your last day, whenever they're putting that casket down, who would you want to be carrying that casket?
Yeah. Pretty much a lot of my groomsmen. You know, um, they're still with me today. I mean, my boy David Works. Have you ever heard of B&D Signs? They do a lot of stuff for they do a lot of stuff where he comes by. I talk to him like 2 or 3 times a week. We play golf together. He beats me at golf. My brother's going to be there 100%, no matter what. My boy Jarrett, a big 6'4". Everybody asks him if he's a Dallas Cowboy football player all the time. They pray. Big old huge tattooed guy. But I tell you what, he's the biggest teddy bear too. He actually runs Peddlers. So if you ever need a pizza, let me know. It's got some good pizza there.
He runs what?
He's a manager for Peddlers Pizza in Greenville.
Nice. I
Yeah,
like that place, man.
that place is good. It's been around since I was a kid.
It's
It's
been
it's
around a long
amazing.
time.
Yeah, so my boy Dan, he's like 55, but he's my boy. So all the guys I play golf with, all the guys I play fantasy football with, well, that's why I'm playing with because you're my boy.
That's right,
Yeah,
man.
You know.
yeah.
Let me ask you this last question. We'll leave you alone, man. And what legacy do you leave behind, Dustin? What legacy do you want to leave behind?
I hope people, like I said earlier, I hope people think that they see me as somebody that came from a little get in trouble, growing up to be a good man that gave great service to the community, gave great service to the population that I deal with. Good family man, I want to be just an all around good man. I want people to say positive things about me.
Well, brother, I'll say this, man. I've known you for about that 10 years. And I can say this, I can confirm that when you're not around, and that's the beauty of the influence you've provided, people only speak highly about you, man. And
Appreciate it.
and I lead that effort many times, man. You've made a big impact on my life, not just because we're both veterans, but because of your service to others. You know, that goes
Mm-hmm.
a long way. We were talking in a meeting earlier about just different things, and the big point that we were all making was that when you find someone that understands customer service and can serve in that capacity, you always go back to that person. I don't need you to say yes or no to me. I just like when you're kind and know how to use words that uplift others, and in your job, someone could say, you're overwhelmed and there's no way you could provide good customer service. And it's not true. You still provide that level of respect. And the reason why, Dustin, I would suspect because at one point in your life, and I think I heard it here today, you were not at the top. Your
True.
mom's formally educated, but wasn't paid like that. You didn't
Mm-hmm.
have a life of silver spoon and all this stuff. Like
No.
you had to struggle like everybody else, and that's the beauty of this American story. We all struggle. The new immigrant, the person that's part of a minoritized group, veterans who have access, and people who are currently without homes, people going through different kind of family situations. The beauty is that here in this country, man, I still argue this, it's still the greatest country in the world, and there's resources for
Yeah,
it, and
absolutely.
hopefully, right?
Even if you see the media perceiving it in some ways, there's great people in this country.
Well, I'll say this, man. If you're looking for a great place, and we happen to be in the DFW area, we happen to have a connection to the university that we're all three of us are alums from this university. So I can speak on that capacity as an alum of this university. Uh, if you want to reach out to us, man, and if we can help you get excited about going to school wherever you live, seeking services or whatever, I can tell you my story on how this university got me from here to there. And I think it's true for the three of us, but I just want you to know that that's not true about every place I've worked and every institution that I've attended.
Mm-hmm.
There's something special and unique happening here in East Texas, and I hope that you'll pursue that. Um, Dustin, thank you so much for your time
No,
and
thank
and
y'all.
and vulnerability, brother. Like I appreciate you.
Yeah,
I really do.
I appreciate it, guys. I really do. Thanks for having me
Yeah.
on. Anytime.
Thank you. I appreciate
Absolutely.
that. And
Thank you so much.
Dustin, thank you for your we hear it often, right? But thank you for your service and the willingness to go into battle. And a lot of the questions that we have, right, is things that we all signed before jumping on that bird, man. It's like, if you don't make it back from this mission,
Mm-hmm.
who do you want this to go to? And we are 18, 19 years old as a young man, and you're kind of joking around about it, but it's a real scenario.
It
Who do
is.
you want your things to go to? And now, as we get older, in our 40s and 50s, and whatever that means, is what legacy do we leave behind? And so,
Yeah.
thank you for the legacy you leave behind, my man.
Well,
I mean that.
Thank y'all too. Y'all do it. Thanks for this, man. We could sit there and talk all day, guys, but
We could,
looks like
we could, but we
gotta,
have, we, man, we have a primary job. We got to get
yeah,
back to.
we gotta get paid.
We got to get
Right.
paid. Thank you all for listening in. We'll see you. We're going to post this on Wednesday, and we'll post a new podcast every Wednesday. Thank you for liking, sharing, and commenting. Have a wonderful, wonderful week.
Right.
Bye. Thank you, everybody.